going to start your new chapter, the United Nations. Okay. So United Nation is what you'll get to know in this chapter. What is United Nations? Short form we can use is UN. Okay. Short form whatever we can use in UN. Yes. So to maintain the peace throughout the world, this United Nation concept came into existence. Yes. And in this chapter you will learn the importance of peace, yes, the birth of the United Nations, UN, different organs of the UN, India and the UN, okay. So students, why did we need this UN? What was the requirement for the UN? What kind of situations came into the scene so that we had to, you know, start this UN? You know, when after First World War, one League of Nations was formed. So that few nations joined that league. League means a group, right? So that League of Nations tried to control the war, but it did not happen. It could not maintain the peace, and the Second World War took place. Second World War took place. After the Second World War, this United Nations was formed. Away from your books, just give me one example. For example, it may happen that at your homes, many times you people means you and your siblings, maybe your cousins, you all start to fight. Many of the instances it happens like that, na? You people start fighting. And it may be possible that the reason for your fight is like, someone may like something and someone may not like. For example, your father asked that today I am going to bring some ice creams for you, okay? So sometimes if your father is bringing the family pack, then one would say I would like to have strawberry flavor one, and one would say I like to have chocolate flavor, right? So at that time you can have a fight that I want chocolate flavor and I want strawberry flavor, yes. Or suppose your father has brought one strawberry flavor and one chocolate. At that time what happens? Both of you will want that chocolate one only, okay. Now my video is off, only you can see this book, okay. Your book only is visible. So on Sunday I am reading your book. Open page number 1 of this chapter. 60, page number 81. The United Nations. On Sunday, Amit was sitting with his father, who was reading a newspaper. His father was reading the newspaper, and Amit was asking him, Papa, what are you reading? So he replies, I am reading about our Prime Minister's address at the United Nations. So what was he reading? He was reading Prime Minister's address. Address means when someone gives any kind of speech or any giving any speech to any audience, that is known as to address the audience, to host or to control at the same time. Okay. So what was he reading? Our Prime Minister's address at the United Nations. कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने स्पीच दिया था where at the United Nations. So then the student says that sometimes countries can have, his father says, sometimes the countries can have disagreement over a particular issue, just like your sister Nina and Preeti. Just like your sisters Nina and Preeti are fighting in this story, you can see they are fighting here. So just like them, sometimes countries also have disagreement. Disagreements means they do not agree on a particular point. जब लोग एक पर्टिकुलर चीज पे एग्री नहीं करते हैं, तो वैसा कंट्रीज में भी होता है कि उनके सबके डिफरेंट डिफरेंट ओपिनियंस होते हैं, ठीक है. और दे मे स्टार्ट फाइटिंग विद ईच अदर जस्ट लाइक यू फाइट विद प्रीति फॉर द रिमोट. और जैसे तुम अपनी सिस्टर प्रीति के साथ रिमोट के लिए फाइट करते हो, वैसे कंट्रीज फाइटिंग भी स्टार्ट कर सकती है. ओके. सो Okay, son, let me explain this to you with the help of an example. Sorry, beta, I missed this, है ना? This was earlier. Like, what is the United Nations? He asked. Then he says, I'll explain you with the example, and example of his sister and him he gave. So, son says, oh, the United Nations, uh, I have read about it, but I don't know but I don't understand its role. Amit says that I have also read about the United Nations, but I cannot understand the role which is played by the United Nations. What role has been played by the United Nations? Okay. Once again, I'm starting this story. This story starts when Amit's father was reading a newspaper, and Amit asked that, Papa, what are you reading? Okay. And his father replies that I am reading our Prime Minister's address at the United Nations. And then the Amit asked that the United Nations, I have also read about it, but I don't know what is the role played by this. Played by this means played by United Nations. What is the work of United Nations? So his father explained the role of United Nations with an example, like your sisters fight, in the same way countries can also fight. Okay, so they can also have disagreement, they can also have different opinions. So what the United Nations does is that it prevents these conflicts. It prevents these conflicts. Prevents means bachana or stops, है ना, to stop something. So it prevents these conflicts. ऐसे conflict होने से बचाता है. Conflicts means having different kind of opinions, having some fighting or disputes, okay, from taking place. सो यूनाइटेड नेशंस ऐसा काम करता है कि ये ऐसे जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स है, फाइट्स वगैरह है, ये सब नहीं हो. If conflicts arise, then it tries to settle them in a peaceful manner. Or in case if any conflict takes place, in that case, United Nations will try to settle such conflicts in a peaceful manner, so that no violence can be there, non-violence can be there, and peacefully that can be settled down. Just like your mother does when you sometimes fight with your friend Rahul. Just like your mother does sometimes when you fight with your friend Rahul. So that time your mother helps you to resolve this conflict. Okay. So see, I told you that at the starting of this chapter, I told you that First World War in 1948 to 1918. First World War started in 1914 and it ended in 1918. So after First World War, League of Nations was formed in 1919 to prevent such conflicts, to prevent any war. Okay. Afterwards, Second World War took place. So League of Nations failed in 1939 and Second World War started, and Second World War ended in 1945. But League of Nations failed to perform its role properly and Second World War took place. Okay, that is why in 1949 the United Nations was formed. Okay, and United Nations have 6 organs. Yes, 6 organs, plus it has some specialized agencies such as UNESCO, IMF, WHO, FAO and ILO. Organs, 6 organs of the United Nations are General Assembly, Security Council, Secretariat, International Court of Justice, and Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council. In this chapter, we will read about these in detail. Okay. So, continuing with the next topic. Today, all countries are connected to one another in different ways. Thus, we live in a global world. Global world means linked with each other. Global world means linked with each other, means the complete world, all the countries are linked with each other and we all are connected to each other. We all are dependent for some or the other thing on the other countries. Yes, like many countries are dependent on India to for some products. Like India exports good spices, yes, good quality of cotton, silk, all these kind of things were there, and that was the reason, you know, Britishers came in India. So, and now these kind of things has taken place at a large scale. Okay, at the current period now, at present, these kind of situations means the situations where you know, one country is dependent to another country, one country is connected to another country. Such kind of situations have arisen in quantities. In such a world, each country depends on another for various things such as food, such as raw material for industries, technology, and so on. What is raw material? Raw material is, you know, raw thing, कच्चा माल, which needs to be processed, जिसके ऊपर processing की जानी चाहिए. Like iron we obtain from the you know, earth surface is in a raw form. Then we have to process it in factories. It is processed, it is melted and given the form whatever we require. Okay. It is therefore important for countries to maintain good relation with each other. Suppose in your class, if you are having good relation with each other, then what will happen? If you are having good relations with all of your classmates, then what will happen? If you will require someone's notebook someday, maybe you are absent for some days, you have to go somewhere. Okay, in such case, if you are maintaining good relation with your friends now, so they will give their notebooks to you. But if you keep fighting with each other, then they will not give your notebooks. In the same way, if countries you know, have to depend on each other for some things, so they should also be having good relations with each other. Okay. You know, many of the students are just having attention on you know, doing something or that thing, showing thumbs, making reactions, sending emojis. So that is not your job, beta. Whenever you have your doubt, just write and note it down and try to pay attention in the class. Okay, sometimes you are leaving the class, sometimes you are joining the class. This is not a good way, no. Okay, pay attention. So, you know, for many things, like for the food materials, for the raw materials, for the technology, we have to depend on other countries. Yes, and other countries have to depend on us, maybe for one of the thing or maybe for many things. So, for that, we should maintain good relation with other countries, and other countries also should try to maintain good relations with us. Yes. Now, see, now in the case of COVID or pandemic, no, many countries supported each other. Many countries supported each other when they were having very difficult times. So, due to their good relations only, they helped each other, and some did not help because they were not having good relations. Okay. Now, the world wars. The destruction caused by the First and the Second World Wars in the first half of the 20th century made the leaders of the world realize that a global organization was needed to settle problematic issues of the world peacefully. Okay? जो फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर और सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर था, उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ. ये हुआ कब था? फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द 20th century. So students, you don't get confused between the centuries. Now 21st century is going on. Yes, the period which started from 2000 to, it will work until, and you know, until the period it will end, 20 will end. When after 2099, 22nd century will start. Okay. And in 90s, in 1900 na, from 1900 to 1999, which century was going on? Which century was going on? 20th century. Okay. from period of 1900 to 1999, 20th century was there, and now which century is going on? 21st century. Yes? Okay. So, in the first half of the 20th century, first half means from 1900 to 1950, there were two world wars have taken place. One is in 1914, First World War, and Second World War in, see in your book also it is given. First World War started in 1914 and second in 1939. So, in first half of the 20th century only these two world wars taken place, and a lot of destruction, a lot of things were damaged, a lot of buildings, a lot of people were died. So for that, people now felt that a global, means a worldwide organization should be there, which will settle down the disputes, which will settle down such conflicts which take place in the countries, and these war kind of situation can be avoided. So for that purpose only United Nations was formed. सबको किस चीज की नीड थी? एक ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की जो पूरे वर्ल्ड वाइड वर्क करे एंड क्या प्रिवेंट करे, ऐसे वॉर्स को प्रिवेंट करे, ऐसे वॉर्स ना हो. ओके, सो a platform was required, a global platform was also required to address common issues that concern people across the world. Okay, so a worldwide platform was required to address the common issues. People, some countries have common problems, so to resolve these common problems also one particular platform, one particular organization was needed. Yes? Okay. The United Nations is a global organization which has 193 nations as its members. How many members? 193 nations, means 193 countries are there which are the part of United Nations. Yes, which are the members of United Nations. See here in the diagram you can see, students, that atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki on 6th August 1945 and on 9th August 1949 in Japan there were two atomic bomb attacks, and obviously this was the period of World War II, and in this, due to these atomic bomb blasts, more than thousands of people died in Japan, and a lot of destruction was caused over there. It took many years for Japan to recover from the destruction which took place due to these bombs. Okay. Now see, before the United Nations was formed, another organization called the League of Nations was created. It was formed after the First World War. However, the League of Nations failed to stop the Second World War. Yes, already I have explained you that League of Nations was formed after First World War, but it also could not stop the Second World War. So it was failed to do its work. And then after there was a need of United Nations. Now, birth of the United Nations. The declaration by the United Nations was signed on 1st January 1942 by the representatives of 26 nations. Okay? Declaration means, declaration is an official document which is signed by the different parties. Okay? So here different nations were the parties and they signed this document of the United Nations. So it was signed on 1st January 1942 by the representatives of how many nations? 26 nations. The name United Nations was officially used for the first time in this declaration. Okay? It was this declaration only, it was this document only when the United Nations name was used for the first time. In which declaration? Which was signed on 1st January 1942. Okay? Now, on 26 June 1945, the United Nations Charter was signed by 50 countries in San Francisco, the United States of America. Okay? So, in 1945, on 26th of June, the United Nations Charter. Charter is an official order. So an official order was signed by 50 countries. Okay, and where was it signed? In USA. These countries became the original members. So those who signed over in the USA, they became the original members of the United Nations. Along with Poland, which signed the charter later, taking the member count to 51. And Poland also became the member of this. Poland also signed the UN Charter, and it also became the original member of the United Nations. So originally, how many members were there? 51 members were there. How many members were there, beta? 51. 51 members were there. Okay. The United Nations Organization officially came into existence on 24th October 1945. Every year, October 24 is observed as the United Nations Day. The headquarters of the United Nations is in New York, USA. Okay. Headquarters of United Nations is where? At the New York, USA, in United States of America. Okay. And it was officially existed. It came into existence on 24th October 1945, and that is why 24th October is celebrated every year as the United Nations Day. Now, what are the objectives of United Nations? What are the objectives of United Nations? The main objectives of the United Nations are the main objectives of the UN, the United Nations, are maintenance of the international peace and security. One of its main objective is maintenance of international peace and international security. Peace and security. Peace means shanti. International means worldwide. पूरी दुनिया में ये शांति बनी रहे, सिक्योरिटी रहे. People should be safe. Okay. People should be safe worldwide. Okay. People should be safe worldwide. So this was the objective of United Nations, that the people of the world, not only of any particular country, but people of the world. Okay. People of the world should live in a peaceful and secured manner. Okay. Promotion of friendly relations among the member nations. Promotion of friendly relations among the member nations. Okay. Means the member nations, those nations which were the member of this UN, they should have friendly relations. Friendly relations means good relations. They should live like friends with each other. Okay. Achievement of international cooperation in solving problems. In solving problems, international cooperation means everyone in the world should cooperate. Cooperate means give their help, give their assistance. They should not deny that. ठीक है. अगर पूरे वर्ल्ड में कोई भी प्रॉब्लम आती है तो सब लोग मिलजुल करके उसको सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करें. So this was also one of the objective of UN. Promotion of human rights. Promotion of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Wait a while, give a reading to this. Yes, all of you, I hope you all have read this. So the main objectives of the UN are maintenance of international peace and security, means UN will check that the international peace and security is maintained. Second, promotion of friendly relations, means all the member nations of this UN will have friendly relation with each other. Achievement of international cooperation in solving problems. International cooperation in solving problems, whatever whatever from all over the world people are having problems. If any kind of problem is there in the world on the international level, then all should cooperate. Promotion of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Some human rights are there which are entitled to every human being, which are entitled to all the human beings, and such rights and fundamental freedom should be promoted, and this is also an objective of UN. Now, the organs of the UN. First organ is the General Assembly. The General Assembly is the main body of the UN. All the member nations are represented in this assembly. Okay? General Assembly is main body of UN, and all member nations will be represented in the assembly. Decisions regarding issues related to the objectives of the UN are taken here. These decisions are based on the votes of the member nations, and the decisions of the issues which are related to the objectives of the UN, these decisions will be taken here in the General Assembly. So the remaining organs we will complete in the next class, and till then take care and bye students. Okay.